Hi, thanks for tuning in today. I'm actually out on a weighted vest walk. So I might sound a bit more breathless, but it definitely feels different walking with a weighted vest on. Of course, you feel heavier. It's only 5 kilograms heavier, but it's pretty remarkable. When I finish my walk and I take the vest off, I just feel like I'm defying gravity. I feel so light on my feet. So I recommend it. Plus, there's like a ton of pockets here. So that's really handy too. But I was walking and listening to Diary of a CEO, so Steve Bartlett's latest interview with Jimmy Fallon, who hosts The Tonight Show. I absolutely love Jimmy Fallon. He's hilarious. And if you've seen that YouTube clip of him and Nicole Kidman, or if you haven't, actually, I'll link to it in the show notes. Oh gosh, if you're ever feeling down, just watch that clip. It'll make your day. Anyway, Steve was asking Jimmy about his ambitious goals. So this is really kind of crazy, but Jimmy wrote in his journal, if I don't make it on Saturday Night Live, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to kill myself. He actually wrote that down. And Steve asked him about that on the show and said, were you serious? He's like, look, I probably wasn't serious because I knew that I was going to make it no matter what. And Steve kept grilling Jimmy about this, like, how do you know? What if we were sitting here and you were 50 years old and you hadn't made it on Saturday Night Live? And Jimmy was like, it's not an option because I would have done anything in my power to have made Saturday Night Live. And he just spoke with such conviction. It was the only thing, the only obsession that he chased, just how obsessed he was about achieving that goal. And he did it. And it's really beautiful hearing the story of his second audition because he didn't make it through his first audition. He didn't do that well, but his second audition absolutely nailed it. And just hearing him talk about when he found out he'd made it, he rang his mum. And all these years later, he's still quite emotional about hitting that goal. And anyway, the reason I wanted to share this was I'm talking about clarity. And as I said, I'm walking around with a weighted vest now. I didn't have a weighted vest a few months ago. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that I'm taking on the goal of Everest Base Camp and Lobuche Peak, which is 6,000 meters above sea level in November this year. But what I want to talk about is what a goal can create for you. And maybe the mistake we think when we're talking about needing clarity on things. So like I said, I've got this goal now. It's set. I'm very clear around what it is I want to achieve in November. And as a result now, I am mobilizing myself. I'm reading things all about Everest Base Camp, probably a bit too much, watching too many videos, reading Reddit threads and comparing shoes and hiking poles and how to improve nasal breathing. I'm just reading a ton, listening to lots of podcasts, watching videos about it. So that's what clarity has given me. The clarity of the goal, the what, is now making me understand how will I do it, right? So now I'm putting all my resources, things I'd probably be doing other things on the internet. Now I'm just like moving those resources, that brain energy and things over to the new task of, over to this new goal. So like mobilizing, I guess, my resources. And I think where people get in trouble with clarity, because I hear all the time, everyone's like, I need clarity. I think what you need clarity on is what it is you want to set out to achieve. Who is the type of person you want to be? What is the business you want to create? What is your ideal lifestyle? These are all what type of questions you need to ask yourself. Where I think people get in trouble is they start asking how too often. And that's what trips people up, is before they've even set a direction on what they want, they're already thinking about how. So if I was thinking about Everest Base Camp and I started asking how immediately, I would have said no to doing it because I don't have experience hiking. I have no experience on elevation. Like even when I was doing my marathon training, I was just avoiding all hills and running on flat. I hate leg strength, all of that. If I was thinking and getting clarity on how I was going to achieve it, I would have said no to it. And I think the how always gets in the way of the what. I think often we get caught up too much because we're asking ourselves too many, how will I do this type of questions without being clear and going, no, this is actually what I want. I'm going to be definitive around it. Maybe I'll put a time frame around it. And I'm going to trust myself and be resourceful enough to figure out what it is I need to actually re-energize, mobilize, what I need to start, stop, give up, double down on to make it happen. But I think that comes after you've set the goal and realized, and you've had that clarity on, yes, this is exactly what I'm after. So I guess the tip or the call out today is stop confusing what it is you want with how you're going to get there. Just eliminate the how for the moment. Only set it up for what do you want to achieve. Forget about the how. Trust that you'll mobilize, you'll find the resources and the information, the resources, the people, like all that will come into play later. But dream freely and think about what that actually is for you. It's one of the hardest questions in MBS's journal. Question 2 is, what do you actually want? And it's very easy to mix in and minimize what you want when you're thinking about how do I get there. Thanks so much for listening. Sorry for the breathlessness, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.